Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am Millicent Akunai,
Okay.
but I want people to call me Akweley Ricco.
Okay.
So that's my name.
Akweley means you're a twin, right?
No. So that's the thing. I come from Labadi.
Yeah.
And I don't know, twins are called Akweley. Akweley. Wait, Akweley, yes. But I am Akweley and Akweley. But I am Akweley.
Okay.
Yes.
There's a difference.
Yes,
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And the Rico, that's my dad's nickname. And as a lady, you get married, your name.
Exactly.
Yes. So I wanted to maintain that because I feel like art comes with a little bit of fame.
Yeah.
And so if people will call me, they should also know my dad.
That's nice. That's nice. Yeah. So how did you get into art?
I don't know. I feel like, how you were born with something? I feel art is the same. Because I used to wonder if anyone in my family was into art.
Yeah.
And I had no idea until, I think, 13 years after I lost my dad. I found out that my dad actually worked with Abladi Glover.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
The OGs, huh?
Yeah, so finding out that my dad actually worked with him, I was like, okay. I'm thinking maybe I have an uncle somewhere who also did art. And my dad did art.
I see.
My mom was not supportive because then if you're doing art in Ghana...
it's a very typical thing for Ghanaian parents to do that, right?
Yes. And the only one who would have supported me then was not present. So later when I found out that my dad actually did art, it was kind of like a motivation. I'm like, I'm not going to stop this. You get what I'm saying? I was born with it, yes. Because not knowing that anybody was into art and then I loved it, I just knew. Yeah.
That's good. So how long have you been in the art? How long have you been doing it?
Professionally, I would say maybe 3 years.
3 years?
Professionally. Yeah, but I've studied art my whole life. I did pre-tech in high school. There's students who will draw for the teachers. Yeah. I was a student. And then in high school, I did leather work. And then in uni, I also did Bachelor of Fine Art. So I've been studying art. You've been
studying art through the whole thing. So why I've got introduced to your artworks, right? Beautiful artworks.
Thank you.
Place, right? And it's very, very different compared to the ones I've seen, right? What you do mixed media art, right? What inspired you to do that? Why choose that medium? There's several ways you can express yourself. Why did you choose that one?
Okay, so like I said, I've been working professionally 3 years now. Yeah. But then I was not doing that. I was painting. I did a little bit of performance because again, I don't want to be known as the artist who is, stuck with just one thing.
So you have different.
So I'm more like a multimedia artist. I want to be the artist who is known for her sculptures, who is known for her performance, who is known for her paintings.
When you say performance, what do you mean?
Yeah, art performance, yes.
Oh, we don't barely have that in this country.
Yeah. Well, people say when you do art performance, it does not bring money.
To be fair, in this country, no, I do agree with that. I mean, if you're outside, then maybe you might in that sense, right? But Ghana, art industry is now, on the rise.
You know what's crazy? I feel like Africans should be doing a lot of performance because, our culture. We have a lot of things that the world needs to know about, but we are trying to move away from it. We see it to be, how do I say, something we need to move away from because, we are Christians.
The Christianity thing, it's a long story, If you start mixing, because it feels as if we are trying to get away from our identity by, because clearly Christianity and all these other religions are not necessarily part of our culture. These are like imported culture, which is good, right? But we cannot just demonize one and in favor of the other one. The cultural dance, there's so many reasons for the cultural dance. Yeah. Some can be about celebrate in that sense. Why do we have to, leave that? But yeah, that's another conversation for another day. But so please tell me, like you were saying about
I, especially because of what I'm working on, I needed a material that had a story behind it. Because we had a chance to travel to Tamale while in school, and I saw how the local women were using natural colors like clay, and they were getting natural colors from rocks to paint, which was amazing. And I needed a material that had a story behind it. And so I started buying leather, and then I'll collage on a canvas.
Yeah.
But then it's still not something I was looking for. And then I had a conversation with an amazing artist, Akweley.
Yeah.
And he told me, why don't you go for the shoes and then cut them to do something?
Yeah,
so that's when it clicked. And I said, oh, you know what, let me go to Mokola. And I went to Mokola, and then I saw that they had a lot of bags everywhere. And so I told them, can I pick them up? I'll pay for it. These are bags that are discarded.
Yeah.
And so I always say that these materials I call it the discarded now creeping, because it's like, it kind of like reminds me of my own story where these things are discarded. They were once, cherished by people.
Yeah.
And it's now discarded, and I bring them into my studio space and transform it into something that you see and you're like, oh wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And the fact that when you open the bags, it shows their identities. You see cards, you see passport pictures, you also see money.
Really?
And so it shows the country is coming from, which is so amazing,
I didn't know that. That's interesting. But yeah, so do you have any theme or message you work with when you're doing your artwork? So it's just like more inspiration, because I know some artists have like they plan ahead before they do. Some artists don't even know what they do until they are done. Like they just go on the canvas and I'm just going to see what's going to happen. And at the end of the day, they get inspired and do something. And what's your procedure like?
So I work in series. When I say series, I don't just pick like random pictures.
So I see what you mean.
So I work in series. So maybe I'm talking about a bathroom series. I mostly use myself. And maybe if I have a bathroom series, there are images of me in the washroom, what I do there. Because I like to talk about the female body, the African female body. And we can talk about Sarah Batman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. She is a clear definition of how people view the African bodies. She's somebody from South Africa who was later brought to, I think she was sent to maybe the English country, and she was put in a cage because of her body.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yes, the story of
exactly,
Sarah. Yes. And it's amazing how the whites had to copy. They have this butler thing. When you watch Bridgerton, they have this gown where the back is huge. And they are rather trying to copy how the African body is. And so to be in, this is somebody who was moved from Africa.
Yeah, they call it an abnormal thing where the body...
Exactly. And so to be in my own country, to be in Ghana, Africa, and be sexualized by African men, that's what started the whole thing. Because, people see me, and instead of them to focus on, who Akweley Ricco is, deep down, they're like, oh, you have a nice body. I like but I like this.
Yeah, I feel you.
It's so you are sexualized in a way. And
before even getting to know the person.
And people can be very disrespectful about it. And now people are forced to like take pills to lose weight. And I'm a victim. I've taken a lot of pills to lose weight, to become so skinny. Because I'm like, maybe if I'm skinny and then I wear shorts, no one is going to see me to be a prostitute, because they tag them.
Yeah, the stereotypes and all that. Yeah.
If a skinny person should wear crop top, it's fine. But if I should wear crop top and then I wear maybe tights, my body, they're going to say, oh, your body is, it's too revealing. But it's just the body type. Yeah. And so that's when I started painting. I was focusing on my own body, trying to understand my body and how it's actually going. Because we know Sarah died at the age of, I think, 26.
Yeah.
And I'm in my early 20s. I'm in my mid-20s. And so for a 25-year-old and like finally hitting 26, there are flashbacks. You're like, oh my God. Because I realized that my body has really changed from when I was in high school to uni. Yeah, so that's how I started with the whole body thing.
Your record is more about fighting the stereotypes in your case in that sense. Like
that's I wouldn't say I'm
creating
fighting
awareness in that sense.
But if I'm creating awareness, what am I trying to do? Am I trying to stop it?
No. You're trying to. Yeah, as you said, like this story is a perfect example of what you're saying, where people, rather than seeing you for who you are, they see you for like, let's say face value in terms of what they see is what they judge you by, rather than knowing you deeply for who you are in that sense, right? So maybe your art series is more about fighting that type of stereotype, because clearly there are more females like you who actually been through these type of situations. They're all over the country. I mean, an extension all over the world in that sense, right? So let's say if your series is about if someone asks you what your series is about and you tell them about it, it might inspire somebody to as well. Like, another female that, okay, yes, probably like loving myself doesn't mean I should conform to what the societal norms are. Because as you were saying that you took pills to look in a certain way. But at the end of the day, excuse my word, fuck them all, right? In that sense, right? So it's just, yeah. But yeah, so going on to, since you're a Ghanaian artist, right? How has the industry been for you? Hey, they're shaking off the head. It's not easy.
I don't know.
Honestly, what do you think about the Ghanaian industry, right?
Bro, they really need to work. I've had the opportunity to visit museums here and there.
Yeah.
And it's sad. The first time I went to the US, I had a chance to go to a museum in Seattle. And when I got there, the number of African works there, it's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get to, you go to the museum here in Ghana.
Do you even have a museum? Which one?
We do. Please don't do that.
Is it the Science of Math?
No, we do Kwame Nkrumah Museum. Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. I went there and the works there, it's crazy because we have a lot of amazing artists here in Ghana.
Yeah, we do.
And I feel like we could do better because Nigeria is way ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Even Senegal, they have their own biennales now. So it's just like,
Look at that. It's crazy. And like challenges being an artist here in Ghana, put that aside. Being a female artist, that's another thing altogether.
Like your powers up in that sense,
because you hardly find female artists in Ghana. I mean, mention.
Yeah, it's always on a handful. You can mention a handful of female artists in Ghana compared to the male artists, which and I think it's a problem. I think it has to be addressed, and something has to be done about that in that sense, right? But looking at I've talked to a couple of artists, and they keep on saying that they are more appreciated outside than inside. Are you of that same, what do you call it, assertion in that sense?
I'm trying to think if I've ever sold my paintings to any Ghanaian. No, I haven't.
I think most Ghanaian artists.
And if there's any Ghanaian who owns my work, they are probably from the diaspora. You know? No, they don't. I remember when someone came and they were like, "Hey, is this also art? You're using bags, like."
You see what I mean? Like they don't understand the value of it.
It's crazy. Even I was shocked because when you go to high school, they teach you the basics. Still life painting, sculpture, leatherwork. I did leatherwork, and then you come to the university. Thank God we have KNUST because KNUST does not only focus on like the slab of word. They'll tell you about study how to paint, how to do that. They dive into they go internationally, and so you study art, you study people about. You study people like Thomas Hessian, you study people like Van Gogh, Andy Warhol.
Yeah.
Yes, and these are not things that are taught in high school.
No.
And so coming to uni, it was like another kind of art I was introduced to. And so I'm so grateful to KNST because they're really doing amazing with that.
That's good. I mean, I'm glad talking about KNST in terms of art schools, and we have. Apart from how many art schools we have in the country?
Do we have art schools?
That's the question. Huh? That's it's a problem, isn't it? Because looking at the fact that we have most. I was saying to Paul the other time that most artists in the country, most of them, especially, I can say 70% are mostly self-taught. So just imagine that you have an art school that can guide you in terms of even the professional side of art. Because we have talents, but how to navigate that to be able to make a career is another thing altogether, right? So if you can be able to navigate that, be able to know that I do this, I do that, I can be able to, make money or be consistent in, doing gallery shows. Even reading contracts is a problem.
Oh my God, yes.
It's a problem because people are being exploited so many times in this country. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So that's why it's very important for us to get all these you as an artist talking about these things, right? In terms of we knowing what type of things the country need. Well, as you were saying, in the country, people don't understand the value of the art. As you're saying, we rarely have people who have actually bought your art in the country, right? It would be best if your base, your Ghana being your base, has a stronger support than anything. Because if you have that means your bargaining power is way stronger. I don't have to go and just reduce my value because I don't have that type of value base in the country, right? If you're in Ghana, let's say, we have a lot of foreigners who come to the country and buy art, but artists, then they're hungry. So Charlie, they'll sell it because they want to eat, not because I know this is the worth of my art. If you don't buy it and have a market base, I can buy my art in that sense, right? But it's also a very, Ghana is not necessarily a consumer economy. So anyway, that's a long thing. But at the end of the day, we need to have support for the arts industry, right? And I agree with the diversity part where you said we have to have different types of arts in terms of, as you said, the performance art, the what do you call it? Sculpting, even painting, you have different types of that, But and I know you've traveled out, right? You've seen, because it gives you a wider perspective of how things are in terms of the art industry, right? What would you love to see that will be transitioned into this country that will feel like, okay, Ghana is now at a place where it can compete with any other country in the world?
Okay, so I'm not saying Ghana should do the same, but when I went to Austria last year, it felt like home for artists. Because
I've heard that too.
Yes, it felt like home for artists. There are museums here and there, galleries here and there, and oh my goodness, even with the architectural structures, crazy. You could tell that artists were involved, and there are sculptures here and there. It felt like a home for artists. I'm not saying
I understand you, especially in Europe, right? You go even certain, especially sculptors you're talking about. You go to certain centers, you see an art commission. Like it's a beautiful thing to see. It's true.
I feel like if the same way we can host or maybe cooking competitions and stuff, we can also do art we do have them, but most of the times they are from the private sector. So we have maybe the local government doing things like that, or giving opportunities to artists to also travel to study, because it's mostly people doing
true.
They are doing
scholarship. I doubt you're going to get from the government if you want to do art.
That's crazy.
I know.
So and a lot of workshops, exchange programs, you study art. I think if they do things like that, it would really help.
That's good.
Really, really help. And let's learn to use our own things. Because when I went to Vienna, I realized even with their paintings, you could tell that there's even though people are unique in their own ways, there's this kind of consistency that runs through everybody, and it's influenced by their culture, by
exactly,
their way of life. And so we talk about people like who should I use? People like Ajay Taria. He uses the sponge because he said, when his mom died, he saw how they use the sponge to bath the mom, and so that's why he uses that. We're not saying go and drop people in Kente, no. But then there are certain things that you can...
I understand what you mean. Because
that's your identity, and you shouldn't let anybody take it away from you just because you want to blow and this is the trend.
Talking about that, that might seem controversial in this country because it looks like it's very, what would you call it? It's very, for lack of a better word, it's very similar
to,
like, in terms of the recent productions of artworks in the country in that sense, right? I don't see the identity, as you're saying. Like, if I ask you, you were explaining your artwork. There's several people I can ask them, can you explain your artwork? You can't feel the identity from the artwork. And artwork tells a story. It's supposed to be like, it's a creation, right? So like, you're bringing something to life at the end of the day. It was nothing on the canvas or nothing came out of your mind. It's more like your creation in that sense, right? So you need to give me a backstory of why you created what you created, right?
Because who is an artist? Are you going to say an artist is somebody who can draw, hyper-realistic drawings?
Exactly.
No, that's not who an artist is. Because I know a lot of like science students who can really draw.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy how science students can draw. Like people doing medicine.
Oh, yeah.
They can really draw.
Tell them to draw the whole body with everything. They'll give you like...
They can draw, and these people don't call themselves artists. I mean, what is art? Because if you go to... where did I go? To Tamale, and you see these local people painting. That is also art.
Yeah.
But they don't call themselves artists. And so who is an artist? And that is where you bring your uniqueness and what your identity is. For example, how, your work has a story. There's something you're putting out there. Because when we look at artists like who should I mention?
Are you talking inside or outside
story,
the country?
Raft of Medusa. There's a painting like I really love that painting. Who did that painting?
Who did that? Where did you see that? It depends. Where did you see that?
It's an old painting.
Yeah, I mean, like which gallery? Because
oh no, I haven't seen it.
Okay,
I know that painting.
Yeah,
and that the artist, it's a similar thing like Titanic, where there was the ship.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw that in the Louvre. I saw that in the Louvre. That's why I said it was like they were on a raft, right? Yes. Yeah, exactly. And the details in that painting.
Do you know what the artist did? After the bodies were brought and people who survived, he had an interview with the people that survived. And then he went to the morgue and then studied the bodies. He had the opportunity to take some of the body parts into the studio space to study how it would decay.
Back in the day, they used to do that, huh? Like in the Renaissance times.
What were these people on then? So like when I look at, and they're so intentional about every single thing they put on their paintings, like on their canvas. I mean.
Everything had a story. Everything had a story. That's why Da Vinci, that's how it started. Like learning the human parts of the body. He was using cadavers, like dead bodies, to study the veins, the muscle, everything. It's amazing. Yeah. You've been to the Louvre, right? You should do that. You'll be mesmerized by the quality of the artworks itself is just like,
I noticed.
And it's over, there's thousands of works. So you can spend like a whole week there and you're not even done. In that sense, right? It's just,
you know what's crazy? That people don't know that the Mona Lisa painting is actually small.
I was surprised that we said I went there. It was like,
it's crazy. I didn't know it was that small, because most people study, at where do you study at? If not for the internet, then you're going to see on your phones, and that's
exactly.
You see the
so it gives you that illusion that it's big.
Books.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or your books, and most Ghanaian students have phones after high school. And so after high school, you get to see the paintings on your phone. If the government should maybe do like a whole trip thing, people go see museums, galleries, to get to see paintings, have a different perspective on art, it would really help.
Yeah. And I also think that we also should be able to, because if you compare, let's say Europe, America, and other countries, right, to these parts of the world, they have a well documented art history. You can follow the trend from the Renaissance all the way to industrialization, all the way to now, right, where you can see like proper artworks from that period to now. And you look at places like Ghana, right, we cannot necessarily have a whole chronology of timeline, let's say from when we started doing arts all the way to now. Like you have like different artists and how it's transitioned over time, and what influences have we gained in either imported or exported, where people are, because if you go to certain places, they say they're influenced by this, they're influenced by that. There used to be a time where artists used to be influenced by the market scenery, or the what do you call it, the sea scenery in terms of the fishing and all that type of thing. They improved on that, and most of them left that and it came to portraiture and other things. But the inspiration behind that, I really want to know that story, because there was a point in time where you can tell, because if you follow the art history, it was hyperrealism. It went also in contemporary came. You had like abstract art and everything. Like it's mostly in the European base and an American base. What is that base like? And if an art student, right, I'm learning these things, it can inspire me to do different things, or even combine them together to do something. So that's my only hope in terms of building of Ghanaian art industry, is to have a well-documented, what would you call it, history of our art, where students can also learn and get inspired by. Because there's a lot of fire and there's a lot of creativity, but the direction is something that might be a problem in that sense, where that I have a base where I can get a direction from. Because if I know that this is what this and this and this did to get there, maybe if I do it this way, it might end up in that way. Because there's more experimentation, because you have more knowledge. If you have more knowledge, you can do more things in that sense, right?
Yeah. So the part where you said people were painting like market scenes, it really caught my attention, because I realized that, the beautiful thing about art is how it's able to like move from one to the other and how it's evolving. Because we talk about the era where we have romanticism, we have, expressionism, Dadaism, where people were painting different things. And it's crazy how when the world is changing, it also affects the art scene. We can talk about people like George Bachelet. I apologize if I'm not pronouncing the word. George Bachelet is from Germany, I think, and he then was painting like the soldiers who had gone for war because the World War, and he was painting soldiers and how people lost their
the limbs
materials, valuable things. And then you move to artists who are now painting certain things, and now currently, conceptual or contemporary art, conceptual art.
Exactly,
So from the word concept, the concept becomes more important than the work itself.
Exactly.
Talk about people like, sorry, I'm using Amwako Bwako because
of course,
So Amwako Bwako's painting changed the narrative. I mean, there are other artists who have changed it, but his painting changed a narrative because then when we are painting Black people, it was more about slavery. Oh, Africans are suffering. The Black people are suffering.
Even during the painting, you can tell, like, exactly.
But you see Amwako's painting and you appreciate it so much, especially as a Black person, because you are seeing that, he's also showing you that Black people can also wear expensive things. Black people can also look, luxurious in a way. He's painting Black people in Dior, in Gucci, and there are lots of Black people
who are pioneer. He's a pioneer.
So he's changing the narrative and letting you understand that we Blacks can also be like this, or we are like that. So it's changing. 2 years, 3 years from now, or 10 years from now, my work might also change.
Of course, as an artist, like exactly. You try and evolve as the time goes, or even. One thing about creative, they don't have we are not necessarily still. We're always like thinking about things. Okay, what do I experiment with? What do I do? I've done this now. Let me do. As you said, you work in what do you see? You work in projects. You work in like series in that sense, right? So your next series might be something else, and you have to think about something else. It is exciting,
It is.
How long does it take you to finish a series? Do you have like a time
to finish a series?
Yes.
So I don't know, because I don't know if I want to do like 3 works and then that's a series, or maybe 10. But with one work, it depends on how I'm feeling. Because this work, people don't know this, but I get very emotional when I'm doing my works because of, I mean, now I can confidently say then I would shy away from the question. But when it comes to body, it goes way beyond people just calling out names and saying, this is true. To a point where I was sexually abused, to the point where when I finally spoke up, they said, this is something that happens in African homes. It's a normal thing that happens in African homes. So why should we sit down to talk about it? So you can imagine the number of young girls who are going through it, and it's like normal to them. So when I'm doing my works, sometimes I get too emotional. I feel like, oh no, your body is represented so much in it, and I'm scared to like post the work or even make sure the work is exhibited. And I also need a gallery that would really showcase my work the way I want it. I mean, you could always say, a gallery can say, we want to showcase your work, and then they can't give you what you want. These works are very important, very emotional to
very
me.
Personal to you in that sense.
I would have a way I have a way I would want the works to be represented. It's not just a white cube space and then you just mount the works and then people can't know. It goes way beyond that.
That's fair. That's fair. I like that. I like how personal you are with your work. So that's good. I think it adds more value to it than not in that sense, right? What does the future hold for you?
I want to own a gallery.
Ooh.
I want to own a museum. That's crazy.
You have to start collecting if you want to own a museum.
I really want to own a gallery space just for women.
That's
just
nice.
For women. I'm sorry, but just for women.
You have to do that. I do agree to that.
Yes. And artists who like have and it shouldn't be for just artists. It should be for people who really want to like share their story, because men go through it, please don't get me wrong.
No.
But
exactly.
I can't speak for a man because I'm not a man. And so I feel like the best person to speak for a man is a man.
Talk to your experience.
The best person who can speak for a woman is a woman.
Yeah.
And so I would want to own a gallery for just women, and I would put their thoughts into consideration. How they want their works to be represented or whatever they want to do. Have time for that. Yes, and we have a collective. It's called ABBA. Where we go to schools and then...
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, we go to schools and we have workshops with the students. So it's like you're introducing them to art.
Yeah.
Yes, my professor in uni told me that if you have a child and the child starts using charcoal on the walls, that's where their artistic whatever is coming out. So you just don't beat them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where you get them a sketchbook and then they start painting.
Because you're experimenting, right?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you beat the child and then he moves away.
Just imagine back in the day, the number of
times... you were supposed to be like the next Picasso.
You never know. They beat it out of you.
Yeah, so fortunately, me, I was more into cutting. So somehow I thought maybe I'll be a fashion designer because I was
This is never too late.
I'm actually cutted,
by
the materials I use, I cut them.
I mean,
wow, yeah. So I was more into cutting and
might be your next project.
Wow, oh my goodness. Wow.
I mean, technically it's collage. You just have to cut them.
Because I'll just cut from one piece and then add to another fabric. Wow. Okay. What a discovery.
You never know.
Yeah,
you might create something and just like it might be a sculpture, it might be like they have wearable art these days where people can you can experiment with that and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I feel as if like in terms of the what would you call it? The art scenery, right? Seeing people like you is more inspiring because it means that like we are going somewhere. Like somehow you're very conscious about number one, your journey, number one, your message you want to give, and the type of ambition you have in that sense. You know what you want, and which is really, really good as an artist, right? Because it makes you have a level of decision making and no nonsense type of thing. Like you know if you come and just like tell me whatever in that sense, right? Because you understand it. You get me, and which is good. And my hope and prayer is more people can also emulate that. You get me? And talking about female artists, right? Are you familiar with some of them in the country?
In the country, yeah. I mean, I know a couple.
Yeah.
Priscilla, she's really good.
Yeah.
She also talks about the female body in a different way.
Yeah.
And we have people like...
I think, do you know Samuela?
Samuela.
She also is very vocal about like female stuff.
I might know her painting, but the names...
Yeah, exactly. Her name is Samuel. I'm sure you know her because... Yeah.
Crystal Yaira Anthony, amazing artist.
Yeah.
The way she talks about the female body through her paintings and how vulnerable they look and and spaces where they are most comfortable, for example. And so I did a bathroom series where because revealing my body to the public is very difficult for me. You would hardly catch me in like something that's too revealing because the society has affected me mentally. And so even if I wear something short, I'm cautious.
You're very conscious about it.
Someone might do something. Yeah. And so I did a series where I named it No More Private because it was images of me in the washroom, because that's where you take off your clothes and you're more comfortable because you feel like nobody's watching you. And so I keep asking this question. If we say there's privacy or you build your home, why do you have to lock the door? I mean, they know it's yours.
Yeah.
So, because every time you have to close it because someone might enter. So what if it's privacy? So no, there's nothing like privacy because people can easily come in.
Yeah.
Yes. And it started with when a thief came into my room. Yes. He came into my room and again, he said he wanted to take advantage of me. Yeah. And he didn't know I was tall because he's very short. So when I got up, he thought I was tall. I held his hand and I said, if you don't want me to scream, leave the room. So he left and I thought that was it. And just when I came out, he had this weapon and he was like, he had this tool thing. Yeah, it's a weapon. So he said, if I should scream, he's going to kill me. I was like, okay, cool. I said, oh my God, this is it. This is it. Like, fine. So we're just going. I don't know. I prayed to God. And then, I don't know what happened. And then I pushed him and he just hit me and I ran. And I ran and I started screaming and I was calling Awuche, the guy.
Yeah.
And I called him and the thief just ran away. I'm like, wow.
Jesus Christ.
Like, there's some, I'm like, what is it about me? You see me after taking everything. And because there are cameras in the house and we saw that he actually took everything.
And
so
I don't
know whether, I don't know if he did something to me because when I sleep, any little thing could wake me up.
Yeah.
Because the camera showed that he took everything he wanted and then came back. So coming back again was when he wanted to have something to do with me. And it's crazy. And I keep asking myself, what is it about, our bodies that men want to explore? Sorry, this is not against
It's not your fault. Some people are creeps in that sense.
Yes,
exactly.
It doesn't mean there are we don't have good men.
No. Of course, I'm saying that
it's with my experiences because it's always like that.
Yeah,
it's always about sex here and there.
Yeah,
it's always about because he was looking at me. He was like, "Can I speak to you?"
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
He was like, "Ade, we are virgin now. Body say one person," and I was like, "Ugh, here goes the body again."
The guts.
And so it's also the reason I was taking pills. I remember one time I said to get some injections to become skinny. And so I was watching my videos then and I realized, wow, that pill actually worked. I became so skinny. And even that time, I still thought I was too big.
Yeah, body dysmorphia started entering.
Body dysmorphia is so real.
It's so real.
Yes,
so real.
It's crazy. And so this year, I said, I'm going to learn to love my body.
That's good.
Even coming here, I told a friend, I think I've become too big. And I was like, nah, I'm not. Because I need to train my mind to understand that this is why. Because I've always been skinny and then growing up and all of a sudden your body's developing.
Yeah, hormones start coming in. Everything is moving in a certain direction. Yeah, it's just like...
I was not allowed to write my one paper, final year, because of what I was wearing. Yes, it's true. The school has policies. I'm not supposed to wear something short. Well,
I mean, it's a paper.
Fine, but
what
that's not
it.
To do with what I'm wearing? I was okay with it even when they asked me because of what I was wearing, all of that. But after the paper, we were in class and then one of the professors said, with the way your body type is, you shouldn't be wearing something like that. If you are skinny and you wear it, it's fine. But with your body type, it's going to be too revealing. And I'm like, here we go again.
What was his point exactly?
I don't know. There are people who eat a lot and they're so skinny. I don't eat.
Ask Paul. I'll tell you.
But look at me. Why?
Are you okay? Again, fuck everybody else. Right? It's about you on your journey, right? Like, don't care about what people think.
Seriously, yes. And I feel like there are a lot of people like that. And if I should keep quiet, like how most people are keeping quiet, who is going to like motivate the rest? Let them know that, hey, this is my body. I should,
Yeah.
I can't change it. This is who I am. And maybe people will stop doing all the whole BBL shit. Sorry. And stuff. Because we need to. Africans are different. We are different.
There's a lot of people. Yeah,
shapes, sizes, all of that. Let's learn to love ourselves.
That's the thing now, because talking about loving yourself is something that a lot of people don't know how to do. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of people, and I'm trust me, like even for such a young person like you, right? You being conscious enough to know that you should love yourself is a very, very, very good thing. Mm-hmm. And it means that you've been able to. There's this thing I call the outer and inward thing where you get out of yourself.
It's like breaking free from
exactly. And also you can see yourself. You can literally, let's say there's an image of yourself, you can see it. Mm-hmm. So you know who you are in that sense. You're learning to get to a point where trust me, you get there. Confident, like I don't give a fuck about anybody else in that sense, right? But the point is, I'm really appreciative that you are able to know yourself, know your journey, and know where you've come from and all the unfortunate situations you've been in, And I don't know whether saying sorry or not is going to do anything, but I know. But anyway.
Yeah, because I feel like
it makes you strong.
I'm a very religious person.
Yeah.
And so I have trained myself to understand that with everything that I go through, it's a process. It's for something, I don't know. Because when I reflect my mind on things that it shaped me in a way, you know, there are people who, because I didn't get a chance to live with my family, I lived with my auntie, and so the whole love that is shown to, you know, your mom will show to your dad will show to you. I didn't really get that. Exactly. And so now growing up and living with people, it's quite easy because you grew up your entire time living with people, so you learn that. And with the whole thing that I went through, which affected me emotionally, psychologically, physically, it shaped me in a way. I mean, look, I'm putting it to my art. It's giving me a voice. I have something to also talk about. I feel important, actually.
You know, they keep on saying that artists are mostly troubled souls, where we get our inspiration mostly from our, let's say, our life in terms of our trauma, our difficulties and everything, right? And if you look back in time, all these like Van Gogh was a troubled soul, Basquiat was a troubled soul. There's so many artists who are like, you know, and they channeled that into something really good in that sense to bring forth that. So it's also another avenue, which is rather unfortunate. But then again, that's how the world works, right? Where you're able to express yourself. That's your voice. You're giving off your voice to the world, and people are hearing it. And please don't stop. Please don't stop doing that in the sense of where you're able to inspire people, tell people how things should be, how you should be able to look at yourself, how you be able to look at your journey, and how your journey can inspire people. You know, this is your voice, and please don't stop in that sense, right?
Thank you so much.
And also, like, what advice, we are concluding, by the way. So what advice would you give to artists coming up in terms of what, let's say, in your stage or where you are, what advice would you give artists who are actually looking up to get to a certain trajectory? What advice would you give them?
First of all, to female artists, I would say don't give up. And also don't believe the whole thing where people say, oh, the moment you get married, you might probably divert and do something else. Because I get that a lot. People say, oh, when you get pregnant or when you finally have a husband, you're going to stop this whole art thing. I mean, how many women do we see doing art? I feel like women should understand that you can do art even if you have like 6 kids or whatever. There are lots of people. Rebecca is number one. And also, there's one thing that I would say. I feel like if you believe strongly that you are an artist, do not look at what people are doing. Do not be intimidated by that. You should know that you are unique in your own way. It might feel like, this art that I'm doing is not going to sell. You will have your target market. Because sometimes when I reflect on art that people do, I'm like, these people are making it because they have their target market. Everyone has a story. You should also share your story. It's much easier if you share your story on your canvas than to share other people's stories on your canvas. Yes. That way you will get your target audience. So just do you. Yes, you would excel.
Do you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you too. Thank you so much.
This was nice, actually. This was really nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.